example of what you want in a horse. You know, his record speaks for itself, and I do hope he goes to Cheltenham and performs really well again. I think for racing it'd be good to see him get a treble. I think it would be good. I think it would show an assert of a dominance in that division, a division which has been very open in the last few years, bar, you know, when you think back to it. And I think the only year I would say it wasn't open was when literally Native River and Mike Bite went against each other. But Native River was different. He's different gravy. He's different gravy. And I love gravy as well. So I love Native River. He's as good as Bisto, that one. But I go back to that, and then I remember in January as well, Liverpool, the title. Could we do it? Could we finally break the hoodoo? And wow. We were incredible scenes. We went on a winning run, and I'll never forget the game against Manchester United. Now keep in mind we were unbeaten at this point, and in the league it was just simply, it wasn't easy. You know, we had some gritty performances, and I'll forget, you know, I think it was Aston Villa where we did that comeback and we won 2-1. But the game against Manchester United, Liverpool Manchester United, should I say, at home, in front of the crowd, in front of the cop, Van Dijk scores, and the crowd are going mad. That header was a bullet header as well. It was perfect. Trent just whipped that ball in, and bang, big header. And I'm going off my feet. You know, I'm loving life. I'm seeing the cop go wild. And there was then a bit of like edginess within the game. Manchester United had these chances, and there were some good chances as well. I think one fell to Martial, if memory serves me correctly, and I thought, oh God, we're in trouble here. But then, the Liverpool way, the hoodoo, I felt this was the game there. The title was coming home. And we did. Big hoof from Alisson, and Salah is in, and he slots it in the corner. The cop go ballistic. The cameras are going mad. Like, you could see the shaking of the cameras, and it was incredible. And as a Liverpool fan, I got emotional. I actually cried at the end of the game. I never cry, really, at football. I've had moments. I think Istanbul, but when I was a kid, but it was a huge moment. It was a huge moment, and I finally felt as a Liverpool fan, because I've gone through the years of I'd never seen us win a title. I missed that era. You know, I was brought through the 90s where we were building the boot room back, and you know, the noughties where we had Houllier, and rest in peace to him. So sad recently that he died, and he brought a lot to the club. Houllier, he brought that energy that we needed, and such an empathy, and he was class. And then we went to Rafa, and he brought us them glory years of Champions League shockers, which it's still to me the greatest final I've ever seen. Even that FA Cup final the year after, the Gerrard final, to nearly bringing us the title. And it was very close. I think that was the closest that I believe we were, until Rodgers came in, of course. To even nearly go into administration, which isn't talked about enough. We seem to forget this as Liverpool fans. We nearly went bust. Gillette and Hicks ruined that club. They ruined the surrounding areas. They promised the world, and they didn't deliver. They were bleeding the clubs dry. They were doing what majority of typical American owners do. And yeah, it's just strange. Strange to me that we do forget them days, and we forget, we'd like to forget the days of Roy Hodgson. Oh wow, that was fraudulent. Paul Konchesky, get out of my club. That was a joke. Absolute joke. of an era. I was embarrassed as a Liverpool fan at that point, but you know, you stick your neck on the line, and Rodgers came in. If Rodgers had never come in, I don't know where we'd be. I actually think that man deserves a lot more credit than he gets. I know that towards the end of his reign it was a bit laughable, and that's why Klopp came in. You know, it was a ruthless decision to do that, because you could see that Rodgers loved the club, he loved the project that he had, and yeah, it was such a sorry about that, such a turbulent time for the club between 2010 and 2014, maybe 15, and then Klopp came, and you could see that, you know, doubters became believers, and that quote does ring true, because we were doubters. We did doubt. I'm happy to say it. It doesn't matter how positive you can be as a supporter. In the end, I just succumbed to this just doubt, just negativity of, we're not going to do it. We're never going to be back at the promise. I'm never going to see it in my lifetime, and here we are, 2020. In the year of shit for the world, for Liverpool Football Club, we got back to where we belonged, and I felt that, and it's amazing to see what the city was like, and but that moment against Manchester United, I felt this was it. This is the moment, and the one shot, they didn't miss the chance to blow. Eminem's right. But yeah, it was just such elation that day. It was wonderful to see, and I think it was more poignant because Manchester United had been the club that had been dominant for all them years, and I had to witness that. I had to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. All these Manchester United fans that used to get on my back, and it's all banter, it's all in jest, of course, but very annoying. Very annoying. We move on. We go to February. Now, February, again, February's quite a quiet month. I think because the world was in uncertainty at this point, and you know, it was a case of, I guess, we didn't know what was going to happen. The talk of COVID was becoming more prominent because towards the end of January, you know, the World Health Organization was discussing that you need to sort your countries out, you need to, you know, do these lockdowns and all this sort of stuff, you know, take precautions. But you know, that obviously we know what happens next. But in terms of, you know, February, nothing really sticks out in my mind, to be honest. I'll have another look, but it was quite a tough time in terms of sport. The only thing that obviously stands out is, again, Liverpool. Our unbeaten streak ended at the end of February. We got humiliated by Watford. That was a disgraceful performance, and it was a one-off. Well, obviously we then got beat by Atletico in the March, but you know, in terms of Liverpool, it was going to happen. We could see signs that we were going to get beat after the Manchester United game, and I think during the season as well, we just knew that something was going to happen at some point. I just didn't expect Watford to do it. Watford had shown absolutely jack, to put it politely, and it was bad. But at no point did I think, oh, we're going to bottle the league. I think it was all that talk as well. I think because Liverpool is so surrounded with bottle jobs and all this, you've got to remember we were the European champions, and we then won the FIFA World Club Cup, and you know, we're back to where we belonged. We're the top dogs now. We're allowed a one-off here and there, which has been proven recently against Aston Villa. Look at our form since in the Premier League. So I think people were getting ahead of themselves, and I think it was a kind of hope from them, because I know a lot of clubs didn't want us to, and I understand that. We can be unbearing, but I think most clubs can be unbearing. If you win a Premier League title, you're going to be. Or you're on the verge of doing it. Of course you're going to be. And you've got to remember, it's been 30 years. And a lot of fans that in the fan base now, I'd never seen it. They're going to love life. I was loving life. I'm very diplomatic as a Liverpool fan. You know, because I love football. I love the game. I know that there's certain aspects I hate. VAR, the way that the businesses are run, player power, agent power, all that sort of stuff I hate. I detest it with a passion, and I do not want a European Super League, but I digress. I do feel that this was a point in time where we'd been beaten fair and square. I wasn't bothered. I really wasn't bothered. Sure, we didn't do the unbeaten season, but just because we're not Arsenal and we draw a shitload of games. No, fair play to Arsenal. They still did something that was impressive, but when you look back on that season, a lot of the time they were playing to draw, particularly towards the end of that season. But I suppose they could. By the way, guys, I've got my Underso mug here and black coffee. I bought some I think it was butterscotch syrup. Just poured a little bit in. I really want a coffee machine. I hope by the time this goes out that I've got one for Christmas. But beggars can't be choosers. I still like making my black coffee. I can't drink milk. Milk really does upset me. So I'm just enjoying, in my Underso mug, some black coffee. Beautiful scenes. I'd love to have an espresso right now though. God, they're beautiful. March. Now March was and always is the month that I look forward to. I always take a week off work. Speaking of which, I've got a new job, so I need to do that. I'm reminding myself. So when I move to this new job, I'm going to say, right, can I have these dates off? And I will be taking them. They can't stop me. And I hope they don't hear this. But March, what a month. And I look back at March, it's always Cheltenham. Cheltenham, Cheltenham, Cheltenham. But we have obviously a few other things that we will address in March. And strange, really is strange, that in March it was ramping up, wasn't it? The COVID talk, the lockdown talk. When are you going to do this lockdown? When are people going to work from home? And it's like, just stop. Just hang on. I was at the height of my anxiety as well, to be fair. I think a lot of people were. At the end of the day, we didn't know what was going on. I was fearful that, oh my God, what it's going to kill us. And I was a fool at the start. I'm happy to hold my hands up. I was a bit of a fool. COVID mug, to put it that way. But March was beautiful. Before the 17th of March anyway, where the lockdown happened. It was beautiful for that reason of Cheltenham. The Cheltenham Festival. It was incredible. I've mentioned Boum Photo before. Back-to-back Gold Cup winner. Beat Santini. Thank God he beat Santini, who's slow as a boat. But I'll give Santini credit. He did battle. But I've never found an attraction to the horse, so I'm just going to let that one slide. I didn't just compliment him. And Boum Photo, thank God he beat him. Thank God. Because we would never have heard the end of it. That Santini is his God. And I wouldn't have heard... basically, the missus would have gone mad. And I would have told her that she's a fraud. And I can't hack it. But you go back earlier in the week. Oh, what a festival. Shishkin versus Abracadabras. What a start to the festival in the Supreme Novices Chase. It was electric. Like The Rock. It was electric though. It's so good to see a crowd there as well. When you think back now, imagine if the Cheltenham Festival had no crowd. Oh my God, I'd have gone into meltdown. Hearing the roar is something special. People say when they go live it's overrated. I have heard that, guys. I've genuinely heard that comment, and I've had to tell them to go. I don't want to speak to them people. But you look back at the festival, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant festival, and you can't argue that. You really can't argue that. Shishkin beating Abracadabras, who was the favourite on the day. A very gallant performance. It was brilliant to watch. And then the Arkle. I always remember the Arkle. This day one was do you know what? Day one,